fire and silk in the same era. There are midfielders who influence matches, and then there are midfielders who define errors. One ran like the game owed him something. The other moved like the game belonged to him. Pavel Nedvěd. Andrea Pirlo. Same league, same intensity, different interpretation of greatness. This is not nostalgia. This is a story of power versus control. Nedvěd, the engine that wouldn't stall. When Italian journalists described Nedvěd in the early 2000s, they didn't talk about flair first. They talked about ferocity. At Lazio, then Juventus, he wasn't just a wide midfielder. He was a transitional weapon. He attacked space like it insulted him. Long distance carries, diagonal bursts from left channel, late arrivals into the box, violence, clean ball striking from range, and physically relentless. Teammates spoke about his stamina like it was unreal or unnatural. Coaches trusted him in high-pressure European nights. He never dipped in intensity. When Juventus needed vertical momentum, they found Nedvěd. He could win the ball, drive 40 meters, force a defender into retreat, shoot before the defense recognized, and defensively, he didn't switch off. Tracking runners, pressing for fullbacks, doubling up wide. He wasn't decorative, he was decisive. Pirlo, the architect of calm. Italian coverage often referred to Pirlo not just as regista, but as cervello, the brain. That's the difference. Pirlo didn't overpower matches. He recognized them. His first touch created angles. His body positioning created time. His vision created inevitability. He operated deeper between the lines of pressure. When opponents pressed, he would drop a shoulder, a feint, pivot out of traffic, slide a vertical ball that erased 5 players. Pirlo's genius wasn't speed, it was anticipation. He saw movements before they were made. The passing range, 60-yard diags that insulted wingers. Laser vertical balls into strikers' feet, soft lofted passes over defensive lines, through balls played with disguise. But what elevated him into greatness was control under pressure. In European matches, in title races, in finals, he slowed heart rates. Free kicks became theatre. When Pirlo stood over the ball, stadiums went silent. That's authority. The emotional contrast. Watching Nedvěd felt like watching electricity. You felt the acceleration, the urgency, the chaos he imposed. Watching Pirlo felt different. He felt inevitable. Nedvěd broke structure, Pirlo built structure. One changed games through force, the other through geometry. The clashes. Champions League 2003 final. Nedvěd was suspended. And that absence became the story. Italian coverage framed it as Juventus missing their emotional driver. Milan won on penalties. Pirlo didn't dominate that final with fireworks. It was tense, tactical, cautious. But what that night established was this. Pirlo was part of a Milan midfield that controlled Europe. Nedvěd's absence showed how essential he was to Juventus' attacking rhythm. The rivalry deepened right there. Juventus versus Milan, Giant Stadium, USA. This one had drama. 2 months after the Champions League final, extra time, Pirlo steps up to take a penalty. He chips it. It was cool, disrespectful almost. Buffon beaten. Italian papers highlighted the audacity. Silver goal rule in effect. Milan think they've won it. penalties again. Juventus win, and this is where the narrative flips. Pirlo delivered nerve and elegance. Nedvěd embodied Juventus' refusal to collapse. This wasn't a duel of assists or goals, it was a duel of psychological identities. October the 29th, 2005, Milan versus Juventus, 3-1 at the San Siro. Serie A title race clash. Milan stop Juventus in a huge fixture. Pirlo scores from a free kick, a marvellous one. Italian reports describe Milan as super that night. The free kick mattered because Pirlo's dead ball reputation wasn't accidental. It was technique refined through repetition. Controlled dip, controlled weight. Nedvěd still ran, still fought, still attacked the left channel. But this was Pirlo's controlled evening. He dictated tempo, Milan dictated territory. It was a lesson in positional dominance. March the 12th, 2006. Juventus, Milan. This match had no goals, but tension. It was treated as a potential title-defining clash. Italian coverage at the time framed it as strategic chess. Nedvěd pushed transitions, tried to inject vertically. Pirlo slowed sequences, absorbed pressure. The battle wasn't explosive, it was intellectual. Who controls space? Who controls rhythm? And at that, 0-0 tells you something important. When two systems built around strong midfield identities collide, sometimes the outcome is stalemate, because neither concedes control. Their greatest in full, Nedved's peak. 2003 Ballon d'Or, rare for a midfielder. Italian commentators praise his endurance, his big match influence, his Champions League performances that year. A lot of people say Thierry Henry was robbed, but this was his year. He wasn't flashy, he was complete. He scored from range, pressed relentlessly, tracked back defensively, led emotionally. His engine was real. Ask defenders from that era, they didn't enjoy facing him. Pirlo's evolution. Pirlo wasn't static at Milan. He perfected deep playmaking. At Juventus, later in his career, he reinvented the club's rhythm post-Calciopoli era. Italian media repeatedly emphasized his intelligence. He wasn't fast, he didn't tackle aggressively, but he didn't need to. He moved the ball before pressure arrived. He created space with touch and timing, and under pressure. World Cup performances, Champions League finals, title races, he was serene. So what do you value? If football is about intensity, versatility, emotional lift, you take Nedvěd. If football is about intelligence, manipulation, or tempo, surgical precision, you take Pirlo. Nedvěd made games explode, Pirlo made games obey. When they clashed, it wasn't about who was better in a statistical sense. It was about philosophy, fire versus silk, energy versus elegance, chaos versus control. And Italian football in the early 2000s was rich enough to hold both. So in closing, if it's extra time, crowd tense, midfield battle raging, do you want the man who will drive through the storm or the man who will calm it? Thanks for watching, people. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll check you on the next one. Peace.